Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Today we're going to play some Elden Ring, getting you ready for the expansion, Shadow of the Erdtree. We're going to get through the game efficiently and get all the required completions to access the new content. We're going to skip any of the good endings and not collecting any weapons or anything cool. Just getting you ready for the expansion. And let's get going. Alright, here I'm going to go with a strength build, going for a heavy two-handed weapon and heavy armor. That helps us minimize stats required to get through the game a little easier. Going with the golden seed here. I like to start with either the vagabond or the warrior, either one's going to do. And what this allows us to do is to focus on defense with your stat points, such as vigor for HP, endurance for both offense and defense to help you roll better and attack more, and also minimal strength at the beginning and some dex for power leveling purposes to save us time. But most of your damage is going to come from weapon upgrades in this game, especially the early game. Later on you can kick up the strength if you want, but that's up to you, and plenty of items here for upgrading different weapons. Alright, so here you're going to see that church steeple building in the front and center. We're going to make our way there, but walk around the guy on the horse that you'll see on the ground in the gold armor. Not worth fighting him, and too strong right now anyway, so just go in a curve. I go on the left side. Alright, so again, focusing on a strength build for multiple reasons. Big heavy weapons do great poise damage and great damage in general, and it works pretty much well on anybody. Some weapons, such as dex weapons, well, hold that thought. I got a little bit disoriented, but always look at the compass to the north of the the top of the screen facing north now is what I meant, and that'll help you orient where I'm going, especially when I speed up some parts in this video. So refer to your compass if you get a little bit disoriented. We're going to head to the site of grace by this great gate here, and this is a special one. This is one that we do have to visit, and it'll trigger a special event if you've never played the game before. So here you meet Melina. She's going to help you power up and give you Torrent, which is your noble horse, deer, steed thing. You're going to want to change your flasks to healing only for this run, and hotkey Torrent on your quick menu. You'll use them all the time. Gonna ambush this guy and get a weapon out the wagon chest, and we're gonna use this early on. So as a note, when you two-hand a weapon, you get 50% more strength, so it will be allowing you to use things you normally can't use based on your stat cap. And so we're going to use that with our main weapon too, so get comfortable two-handing the weapon. Gonna take out these guys at the edge of the camp nearby. There's another wagon where we get the Flail, which is key to our power leveling to save you some time. Keep making your way around for another key item and clear out some of these bad guys. So again, just to go back to my point earlier, we want to go with strength to help minimize the stats required. You don't need to boost any extra things in mana for your mind or your intelligence, faith, etc. Just going for all survival stats, and then boosting your weapon, which again does great poise damage. Poise will cause enemies to stagger, and it is effective against all enemy types, including guys with armor, shields, doesn't matter. Alright, gonna grab the Whetstone here, and that'll help you upgrade your weapons later. Be careful of the guy walking around with the shield and spear. You can grab this map if you want. And then we're gonna head back to that first site of grace we found at the church. Okay, here you're gonna find Ronnie. You're gonna talk to her until all her options are gone. She gives you the spirit calling bell, and you can find this later if you miss her, but it isn't for free, so might as well cash in now. Okay, head back to the gate where we were. And Torrent's got his Nikes on. We're going to blaze through this trap with barricades and stuff. Don't need to fight anybody. That's part of the time saving of the power leveling. It can free us up to just progress through the game, and you don't need to worry about grinding or gathering items or anything like that. Grab the site of grace. And up here, there's a stone sword key you want to grab. Here we meet Rodrika. You can talk to her until she exhausts all her dialogue options. You'll see this as a common theme in all these From Software games. But when you get the jellyfish, you're good to go. We head eastward down the road. Alright, and once you get to this side of Grace, you can get ready for our first boss, the Tibia Mariner. Get your wolves out. He's pretty easy. Just attack and he'll disappear sometimes to a new location in the area, usually on the water. You'll want to avoid his skeleton buddies. And random, but I've always wondered why they call him the Tibia Mariner. Is that like the leg bone in our body or something else? I don't even know. As you can see, he did that kind of a stagger, and that's from usually poise damage, easier to do with heavier weapons. Dexterity weapons and lighter things don't cause it as easily. And we almost got him here. He's undead, so double dead. Okay, head to the east side of the ruins. You're going to find some stairs next to some turtles. And the stone sword key will allow us to access these fog wall barriers. Here we're going to grab a talisman that increases our stamina regeneration, which helps us dodge better, attack longer. Useful for all game, really. You can keep it on, which I actually forgot to equip. I got a little bit disoriented, but head eastward towards the cliff. You're going to look for a gust of air a little bit down the road, possibly. And these can soften your landing when you come down cliff, so always look for the gust of air. As you can see, they're peeking over the edge of the cliff. Once you hit the road, head westward, and we're going to do the beginning of our first quest here. So again, kind of optimizing the run here. We're only going to do things that I think are valuable for late game as well. So we only do about 4 quests this whole playthrough. Once you clear out these guys, you'll hear the guy calling for help on top, and you go talk to him until he's done saying what he needs to say. Bit of a silly character in this game. Kenneth Haight. But anyway, we'll help him later. Run down the road again eastward and back to the third church and grab these key items to improve your flask. You want to jump out and head out to the back. There's going to be a portal that takes you to Dragon Barrow, a region of the world where it is more advanced, and we actually take advantage of the experience points there, or souls actually, to level up faster. You can grab this side of grace real quick. And Melina is going to offer to take you to the round table hold, but we don't need to go at this point. Here you'll see I changed my flask to mana refilling ones, but you do not need to do this at all actually. It's not helpful now that I thought about it. I'm boosting my dexterity to 17 because that's all the souls I have, but we need 18, so I'm going to run down the road here and get 2 of these vulgar militia, which are these little guys patrolling around. They're pretty easy to kill, but be careful, they do a lot of damage, especially to us right now. So you may want to start with the critical to make things easier. Okay, so they get taken down pretty easy. I need 1 more. Heading around the back behind this one. And there you go. That should be enough. I'm going to head to the side of Grace down the road. Get that last point of dexterity to 18. So for key stats in this build, we want 18 dexterity, which you can always change later. And run past this dragon real quick. Just gonna hyper mode it. And the strength we need to target is 23 in order to use our primary weapon. We're gonna two-hand it to reduce the max requirement. Okay, head up this air geyser behind the minor Erdtree, and you're gonna head a little bit southwest, getting to this fort-like building and get to this resting point. Okay, equipping the flail, and just looking here real quick is a giant dragon's tail in front of us, and this is what we're gonna take advantage to power level. You can see a red stack on the ground of fungus looking stuff. I try to aim for a little hill to the right of it. It's red and white. It's a little bit tricky to find the hitbox. It does not hit the dragon everywhere, so we're going to use the spinning chain special attack. And what this does is abuse the bleed effect in the game. Bleed will cause proportion damage based on how much HP enemies have, so even now, as weak as we are, it doesn't matter. Once you hit the bleed proc, you'll see the HP bar of the dragon on the upper left. It does about 13,000, and you're going to rinse and repeat. Again, you want to make sure you equip your Turtle Talisman to regenerate stamina faster. And I am refilling my FP points or the mana on the blue bar in order to use the special attack at higher damage, but it really doesn't matter. It's so small. Thinking about it, you just save more time. Regenerating stamina is better. So I'm going to just show you one whole run, and then you can repeat on your own, but you'll watch the HP bar of the dragon. Here you can do another 2 times before we have to prepare for the next step. And I like to think of this as giving the dragon just a little massage. It's not bothered at all. We're just barely tickling it. You're going to feel some pressure. Okay, one more time. And you'll want to mount up to get ready to run back to that side of grace. The key here is to reset the dragon before it can fully disappear, but you still get the souls for the kill. And so you'll just do regular swings. It takes about 2.5 bars, and make sure, again, keep an eye on the HP for when it starts to disappear. Okay, book it back to the side of grace. I'm going to reset. We're going to boost our strength first to get to 23, which is required, and then we can work on endurance and vigor. Alright, going to go into super hyper mode here to show you. I spend about 20 minutes power leveling, and this will save you hours in the game. I think I'm able to down it like 5 times or something like that. I love watching the fast forward on the horse. Looks hilarious. But once it's done, I'm going to show you about how long it takes to disappear. So if you're not fully prepared to mount up and run back, I have made it before, but just to be safe, I would recommend staying mounted on Torrent to make it back in time. So I'm just trotting slow to show you it did disappear, and it gives you the dragon heart. So I made it to soul level 57, and before we head out of here, we're going to that giant rock looking thing, which is actually a giant skull. Check for the air geyser peeking over. You're going to land down and then jump back up on top to grab some smithing items for upgrading weapons later, and a stone sword key, which is great. Okay, from here we head back to the church where the portal was. Gonna change my flask back to healing. Again, don't need to change it to the mono ones in the first place. It did really help save any time on testing. Head due south. Well, a little bit west actually. I went 2 south. Find the road and just follow it all the way down. Grabbed a map piece and some random items on the way, just because it's convenient, but nothing really important. Okay, we're gonna hit the side of grace, and here around the curve, we're gonna clear out this fort that belongs to Kenneth Haight, that guy that we rescued earlier on top of the ruins. You can get your summons out the wolves. Again, if you forgot to earlier, you could hotkey it to make it easier. You're gonna use summons ashes all the time. Okay, be careful of that pumpkin head guy. He's armored in front, so attacking from the back works better. Once you take care of the guys outside, we're going to head inside. Some guys throw bombs at you from up on top, so I take care of them first. And be careful, there's a stronger enemy at the very top of the shield. Keep your HP up, and I two-hand it for the flail just to get some extra damage out. Make sure you go back on the bottom and clear out the enemies in the dark room on the lower level. Okay, looks good. So we're going to head out the door and continue our journey south towards the Weeping Peninsula, which is the lowest part of the map in the world. Just making a tour for item grabbing. So once you're heading in this westward direction, as you can see on the compass, there's going to be a air geyser somewhere in the trees. You can't see it quite yet, but just keep running towards this general direction. Looks like northwest-ish. Okay, once you hit a road going westward, you're going to want to change to south, and this will take you to where we need to go. You can grab the Side of Grace at the end of the lake there, and we'll use that later on, so that is something we can come back to. Watch out for the ballista, grab the items you see. There's a smithing stone and another stone sword. Just grabbing random stuff on the way. Got another smithing stone. There's a vendor by the campfire. You'll see these guys throughout the world, like the beginning. Grab some stones there and another key. You hit right at the fork, and then grab a sacred tear at that church to increase our flask healing. Here we see a pillar. We want to drop down and head towards the rope bridge. Alright, up on the hill you're going to see another one of those towers for the church. Grab the item there and you can get the Side of Grace if you want. Heading southwest, there's going to be another tower you can see in the distance at the top of the screen there. And we're going to grab the items there as well. Okay, outside, make your way down the cliff, heading towards a shack in the southwest. Here you can buy some more stone sword keys if you need. I'm getting the smithing stones so that we can upgrade our weapon whenever we finally decide to visit the round table, which is going to be pretty soon. I'm going back to the Stillwater Ruins and the northeastern part of the map that we've accessed so far, upgrading our flask, and then you can continue eastward into the new region Caelid, and that's where we're going to find our primary weapon. So I chose the Greatsword because it's easily accessible, it's got great range. Oh, and right here I forgot to mention, on the left side you'll see a church, but I'm heading to the right a little bit to avoid it because there is an invader and there's nothing special there, so don't want to fight, don't need to fight. Yes, the Greatsword has great reach, good damage, just basically everything you need, great poise damage. So here I drop off the cliff and head behind this wagon that has the weapon. It's guarded by two giant dog things in the front, and you don't need to fight them, you can sneak up and grab it. Okay, remember we do not have the full strength, so you do want to always two-hand this thing. Okay, now we head back to the round table hold. You can talk to Melina and she'll take you there for the very first time. Then after that we can free travel back and forth as we need to. Okay, here I switch to the Greatsword. You'll see on my weapon icon in the lower left later when it appears, the red X on the top corner means we cannot use it single-handed due to the strength requirement, so that's an indicator you're going to need to make sure you dual wield, or actually not dual wield, wrong term, sorry, two-handed. And you can see it's still not two-handed, so forgot to check for that. Gonna head up the hill and past the barricade into the castle where we're heading towards our first major boss. And you'll notice a guy sneaking up on me. I'll hit him without the strength requirement and it does barely any damage. And he gets finished one hit normally using two-handed. So here we fight Margit the Fell Omen. You can use your helper wolves from the Spirit Ashes and Rogier the Sorcerer from the summon mark on the ground before I entered in here. You'll see I got him to stagger and got a critical. It works on bosses too a lot of the time. At half health he'll get his stronger attacks with the Holy Enchantment on his weapon. Just be careful, keep your HP high. You have plenty of health on this boss. I missed a critical chance there, but no worries. Okay, the next one does finish him. And we got a talisman pouch as well as some souls to upgrade our weapon now. Jumping back to the blacksmith to upgrade real quick. Okay, so we only got one upgrade out of it, but that helps. We just head back to where we were. Alright, I remember to two-hand it this time. Once you get to the castle gate, you can head in the left door. Just ignore that guy right there. You don't need to talk to him, really. And once you climb up these rocks, I head up the wall to avoid an enemy bird. You can drop down here safely. Grab the Site of Grace if you want. Guys clearing out of the way. You don't really need to fight them. You can actually run past most stuff. Be careful of these exploding barrels and these guys throwing these fire bombs. These guys are annoying, so I get rid of them. And you're going to go past these boxes blocking the stairway. Alright, be prepared here. There's an ambush, so just get ready behind you. There's a knight guy with a shield. But no worries, our Greatsword can handle any enemy, including armored ones. You see he gets staggered, just like anybody else. And we can guard break shielded attacks easier than other weapons. You can grab the talisman in the chest, and also the key required. And that will help you get through this locked door here so we can progress. Okay, straight up the stairs. In front of us is going to be a room with a Site of Grace. You're going to grab that. And next part, be careful of these birds. They throw these exploding barrels. And there's 3 of them. There's one to the left here. It does a lot of damage, so try to avoid it if you can. Running on the rooftop to the next rooftop connected to it. Go down the ladder. Sometimes that's hard to spot. I take out these guys, but you can run past them as well. Helps to have some extra souls to buy some items from the vendors sometimes. One of those crazy birds followed us. So maybe one of the disadvantages I've found with using one of the colossal heavy weapons is that sometimes it's hard to hit nimble enemies like that bird. Okay, jump downstairs and head right behind you in the hallway. I curve left out this door so I can get a safe spot to summon the wolves. There's a bunch of guys out with crossbows here. Okay, making your way to the back of the area. Be careful of the ogre guy, he can follow you sometimes, so I jump into this Site of Grace room and sit down to reset the enemies so he doesn't follow me anymore. Okay, we have 2 bird enemies at this barricade up the stairs nearby. Kind of fast forwarding here. You're going to hang right and talk to Nephili Lu. She's one of the characters we're doing a quest for. On the right side of that door, I missed a golden seed actually, but it's okay. Continue on to the Site of Grace on the side room. Reset your flask, summon Nephili. And here is our second major boss, Godric the Crafted. He does attacks that go all the way around him, such as so, but his jumping one actually does the most damage, so watch for that. It's pretty dramatic, so you can see it coming a mile away. Okay, here I missed the critical on him, it wouldn't connect for some reason. And similar to most bosses, once you get to the 50% mark, he starts to change. He's going to add some fire attacks that sweep, and some stronger melee hits with fire damage. Make sure to keep your HP up. Nephili is pretty tanky, so if you need a breather, go ahead and let him attack her. Actually, 8 acute attacks here. But no worries, we're extra powered up and it should be easier than normal. Okay, she finishes him off for us. And something weird's going on here. The statue is floating. That's pretty cool. A site of grace will appear and you can tap that. This guy will show up. He's from the gatehouse earlier. You can talk to him if you want to check out his shop, but really nothing important right now. Heading on to Liurnia of the Lakes. Okay, one of the prettier places in the world, in my opinion. You can grab that side of grace if you want. Head towards the church down the hill. And there's an NPC there for my sorcery build. He'll be important there, but don't really need to talk to him in this game. Head between the two cliff sides and down the path. It'll take you to the lake side. And you can see the campfire of another one of those isolated merchants, which you can talk to for some smithing stones. You can grab the cookbook too if you want. I didn't even buy the crafting kit this game, but the crafting kit is at the very first church that we started at. Now here I checked the smith again. We should be able to get some upgrades. Okay, I got 3 there, which enhances our damage quite a bit. And you can talk to the characters to progress some things. Rodrika is there now, after you defeat Godric the Grafted, I believe. And talk to the blacksmith and her back and forth until you complete all the dialogue. You have to ask the blacksmith about her, and he'll say she has talent for enhancing spirit ashes. So she'll help us upgrade later. But really all of the damage done is going to be by you. The wolves are great for distracting enemies so that you can heal or, you know, just get away and regenerate stamina or what have you. We don't need to upgrade them at all. They're just basically distractions. I follow the cliffside here at the lakes. Just hug the left side and follow it. You're going to pass a big rock here, and then another little curve around the second bend with the second giant rock. And you'll find the cave on the left side. So here, this is for another one of the quests we're going to do a lot later on. You can come by here later if you want, but since we're nearby, I grab the side of grace and I go ahead and clear out this cave. Equipping that second talisman, even though we don't really need it. We don't have anything else right now. Make your way down the cliffs. Make sure to check before you leap, whether it's on the left or the right. And I don't grab a torch for any light. There's only 2 parts in the game really where I run through a dark tunnel. You can follow it and you can see the cave moss on the ground guiding you until you see the light at the end of the tunnel. But you can find a torch at one of the vendors if you want. Forgot to mention that earlier. Grabbing the items here, some smithing stones, which is awesome. And you'll hit a boss once you pass the snails. Watch out for this guy, he's a bit quick. And so just be careful to find an opening whenever you need to heal or summon your wolves at the very beginning. As you can see, each hit takes a huge chunk of his HP though, so he dies pretty quickly. Just be careful of his speed. He does a really quick dash. And at the back of the cave, you can exit out a different way. There's a site of grace here, which you'll want to get so that we can fast travel later. Don't need to talk to the girl yet, but we will. Grab the rune arc. The rune arcs enhance your greater runes if you activate them from the major bosses you defeat. So I headed back to the round table to talk to Nephili. She gives you another talisman. This one helps reduce your weight burden so that you can equip better armor. Checking for upgrades real quick. Okay, so now we're limited by stone, so we check back later. Heading back to the lake cave. You go backwards out the tunnel because you can't fast travel in there. Well, this is a new area anyway that we're exploring. I'm heading northwestward, and you're going to see it gets to an area that has some brown water. Slight curve left, and look for the hanging bodies at an incline, and that's when we need to go. If you talk to Nephili and cleared out all the required dialogue ahead of time, she should be here camped out at this little fire. If she's not there, it's dark, and you may need to go back and talk to her to make sure she's done. So right here, we grab a Larval Tear. That's a key item needed for re-rolling your stats if you want to change your character. We got one already. Okay. Up here, there's a Perfumer, one of these enemies that kind of jump around and throw fire at you. They can be hard to catch sometimes. Just be careful. Time your swing. And moving on, you'll see a highlighted urn. If you roll at it, he's going to reveal himself to be Albus, one of the Albinaurics. And keep talking to him until he gives you a medallion. This is part of the quest with the wolf girl that we just saw at that cave. Okay, behind the huts is a bridge. Across the other side, be careful of that mage character that just blasted my face. Here, there's a summon for Nephili if you talked to her earlier. And I cleared out these guys just because I'm waiting for her to be summoned, and they're annoying, but you don't need to. At the bottom of the hill is going to be a boss that she helps you at. Be careful of the dogs in the area. There are some enemies that can aggro and catch you off guard if you're not watching, but Nephili actually catches them for us, and so we can fight the Omen Killer. And again, this boss is required for request. Okay, talisman that we don't really need. Grabbing a rune arc over here. Okay, now we can continue. I just head to the Albinauric Village just to get down quicker down the hill. We're going to head towards the northeastern direction. Okay, nearby to the east, after you've gone northeast a little bit, is the Boiled Prawn Shack. This guy sells items that can enhance your physical damage defense, which is useful, but I don't use any. We make it through just fine. You're going to want to continue northward. You'll see the school, the magic school for the wizards. The lobster thing shoots some water at me. You can grab the map and the local site of grace. The school's in the way, so you can't go directly northward, so just head around the western side of it and continue north whenever you can. You'll see these gazebo things. They contain some items in there like smithing stones, so just run through, staying on torrent, and you can grab them. Okay, here we see a ruined village, and it's called the Temple Quarter. Beyond it is going to be another site of grace you can grab. Alright, continuing forward, right in front of us, you'll see some rocks. There's a big rock that looks like a dragon, and actually it is a dragon. So run behind him and grab the very back item. That's the key to get into the Raya Lucaria Academy School of Magic. Okay, here I'm running towards the cliffside and looking for a certain cave, but it's actually not in this area, so I got a little bit lost, but it's okay. Still going in this general direction, heading towards the entrance for the school. Once you pass that bridge and go under it, you hug it to the right and go up this ramp here for the stairs. Continue to the right at the intersection and through this gate to enter. Alright, welcome to Hogwarts. I mean, Raya Lucaria Academy. a bunch of wizards here. Roll under their attacks. And some marionette guys here sometimes too, some other enemies. They followed me to the side of the base, so clearing them out. Watch out in this graveyard section, there's some zombies that hide behind tombstones and bushes. They jump out at you, stealing your mana, or FP points as they call it. And it does a lot of damage and wastes our time, so once you get to the doorway, just roll and they'll push that guy out of the way. You don't need to fight anybody here. Jump on the elevator. One of those dogs was following me, so keep running. You can go on that low level if you want. I go on the upper level on the elevator just to grab an extra item, but it goes to the same place actually. Go here, just be careful, there's a lot of enemies. I clear out the first few. Keep your HP up and your stamina refilled, then you can run through this next part. Up the stairs and around again. This guy will start shooting at you right away. But make it to the boss door. And here we fight the Red Wolf of Radahn. He uses magic, which you can dodge. And this part, it's always a little difficult for me. Dog on dog crime. Terrible. Just terrible. Anyway, all jokes aside, your summons may die. It's okay if you have to try this one again and get it done. But some enemies that are high in damage, your summons won't last. Just do as much damage as you can while they're alive. That'll maximize survival. Okay, I head up the broken stairs there. And here's another key item for our build. It's off this corpse on the balcony window. Summon your wolves and you're going to fight this enemy called the Abductor Virgin. It opens up the front and has these tentacles that grab you. That's the strongest attack you want to avoid. Otherwise, just be generally careful to avoid the blades as best you can. It does some spinning attacks that go all the way around, as well as shooting a long range one. But if you generally try to go behind it, you'll be okay, especially from the strongest grab attack. Alright, heading through that little doorway to grab a golden seed to enhance our flask. And sometimes I forget what the items are, so I check it. There's this giant crab, just be careful. I always forget about these guys popping out the ground. Alright, we're going to head back out and head towards this bridge you see, and jump on these cross connections. Head to the edge of the other side of the bridge, and that will avoid the rolling ball trap. And inside, we're going to fight this knight. Okay, again, just showcasing how awesome colossal weapons are. Doesn't matter, armor, shield. Sometimes other weapons might be more difficult, like dexterity or low poise damage weapons with guys with shields or heavy armor. You can get this door for a shortcut if you want, but I think it's kind of useless. You can easily jump across that bridge again each time from that same point of grace. Once you come back to the round table, when it's darkened, just be careful, this guy's going to invade you. Hard to fight on top of the table because it forces him to jump up and you get some free swings. I always forget about this too. So just be careful. I think it triggers at a certain point after you beat well, maybe when you get to the academy or something, or when you beat 2 bosses, I'm not sure. Here we use cold infusion for the enchantment on our weapon. Cold works great for our purposes. It's kind of like a weaker version of bleed. It causes a big chunk of damage once you fill up the status bar. And also after they're frosted or frostbitten, they take more damage. So the same can happen to us. So be careful if you ever get frostbite from some of the bosses later on. Okay, make sure you have that on your weapon and then we're good to go. I head through the shortcut door here, shown rolling to dodge the magic attacks. But again, I think it's easier actually just to go on the bridge and avoid that altogether. You can avoid the ball easily if you go to the opposite side of the bridge and just continue the rest of the way once it passes you. Alright, here behind the giant doors, we are going to face the boss of the academy. And you'll want to aim for the ones with the golden halo. She has a shield and floating in the air, and we can't access her until we take down 3 of them. And just be careful of all the spam going around you with all the guys shooting stuff. Try to get the frost proc, and then get one more swing in there. She does explode whenever she's ascending again. So you'll see in the corner of the screen, if you got it, She picks up 3 of the students to do a super attack, but if you take down 3 of these guys fast enough, she will not be able to use it. Okay, in 2 falls, we should be able to finish her. So let your stamina regen, and then I get in another swing to finish her off as she's about to ascend again. Alright, now she gets to her stronger phase. You'll want to avoid her magic attacks and get off your wolves whenever you have the earliest opportunity. So here I go for it. And they'll help you stun lock her even though they don't do much damage. So just their attacks will interrupt her magic casting. Stick to her as best as you can. You'll get some criticals in if you are watching for it. She'll summon at 50%. She can do a pack of wolves on her own, a bloodhound knight such as now, and also a dragon. I go straight for her. Critical finishes it off. Alright, we got a moon. We got it. Ooh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. But anyway, if it takes you a few tries, you know, sometimes she can be difficult. You know, always some variability there. Luckily got it in first try on our run. And getting some extra points here, spending the souls. She becomes passive now, so she's no longer dangerous. She is actually where you can change her stats. So we have 1 Larval tier already. You could change it if you want to take out the decks that we no longer need and optimize your stats, but not necessary. I do that a lot later as we're doing just fine. So, okay, so I head back to one of the sites of grace in Liurnia Lakes, but actually I get a little bit lost here, so just to show you real quick, I'm looking for that mine I was trying to get earlier and checking the map. You can see my general location in relation to the school, which is the giant island in the middle. And from there, I'm going to head north to the cliffs and just follow the long way around the wall, north and westward, I think. So, hitting it. Grabbing the item in the gazebo real quick. You can check the compass at the top of the screen, showing the direction I'm heading in. Going a little bit slower just to show you so that it's not confusing. So again, not exactly around here, but follow the wall around the left side. Keep going. And once you get to some trees, you'll see it coming up on the right. Alright, right there. So be careful about missing that. And here our goal is to clear it out in order to get another one of our key items, which is a smithing bell. The bells you can give to the vendors at the round table hold, called the Twin Maiden Husks, and that'll allow you to buy the upgrade stones anytime you want, whenever you need, unlimitedly. So here, you'll notice in the wall sometimes there's a brown or tan looking stone. Those are smithing stones as well, so you can get some freebies here. Watch out for the mage guys, you want to take those guys out. And there's one of those stones I mentioned. So I'm just making my way around, grabbing some free items for upgrades. Okay, then you head out the back of the side of the cave. There's another elevator. Okay, grabbing the stone on the wall real quick before we cross this narrow catwalk. And there's some mages on the other side. You want to make it across quickly. They notice you, they're going to shoot stuff at you. It makes it harder. Okay, you're going to go through this door here. Just be careful of some marionettes that ambush you. Right here, there's a giant guy walking around on the ground level. You're going to want to take him out first. And then the small fry afterwards. I'll take out 4 in one shot there. Love this weapon. Grabbing some more stones, and then you can make it through the end of the cave. I went in the wrong entrance there. It's this one. Generally, I scan around. You can find some more stones. There's a white one, which is a somber smithing stone. And here we fight a Crystallion boss. You'll find these guys throughout the game. It's sometimes very difficult with magic damage or low poise damage. Once you crack their stance with poise damage, they take a lot more damage, so just easier with this weapon. We've got the smithing bell. And once you head back to the lakes, heading northward, I didn't show grabbing that particular site of grace, but you can go back to the one by the temple quarter where the dragon was and continue northward from there as well. It'll get you here. Just follow the river or the lake mouth, I guess, and you'll see the golden glow of the site of grace. So again, the somber smithing stones, those are used to upgrade the special weapons, like from the bosses or anything that has unique effects. I don't use it for my purposes because I think the standard weapons scale better late game, especially if you do a heavy enchantment on your weapon and tons of strength to boost the damage. You can use enchantments after that as well, such as some of those elemental damage resins like the fire, lightning, etc. holy. And so that's why I don't show any of these somber smithing bells. Okay, real quick though, once you get to this cave, be careful. There are traps that spew poisonous clouds. So that's why I'm kind of edging around the room and just jumping around whenever you see these little things on the ground. There's some vulgar militia that try to ambush you in the next area here. Grabbing some stones and then moving to the elevator. There's another guy hiding behind the barrel. So I'll show the somber bells in another video. You guys should definitely check out my sorcery build. It's a lot of fun to play. It's different in playstyle, and we'll use some of the unique weapons. Here, there's some guys waiting to ambush you, so watch out for those guys sitting down. They're just a distraction. There's guys in the shadows as well once you grab the item. And we grab a rune arc here and keep going. Some more guys come at you from down the stairs. Grabbing some more stones on the wall. And here you see some of those traps I forgot about. So got poison, but no big deal. Poison you can kind of ignore. It doesn't hurt you too fast. You can out heal it, and resting will get rid of all status effects. Okay, making our way up. I passed some enemies just by running past them. Getting rid of some bats here. Okay, at the end of this section there's going to be a stronger one, which is a creepy humanoid looking bat that's singing actually. He does a spore attack, so just watch for that. Climb up the ladder. I was attacking him and he couldn't do anything though. Skipping some enemies that are in the way, you can just jump them. Jump over, go around them. Be careful not to fall. I go on this ladder behind us here just to grab some few items. You're going to see one of those giant octopus ball things. And note, staggering kills them very fast, so you'll see that once I get the critical off, it finishes all his HP. It only takes about 2 or 3 hits to get him staggered. Back down the ladder, you're going to want to run past these 2 stronger bat guys. Get on the elevator, and I hold out your sword to block. So if you need to block damage in a tight spot, you can use your Greatsword block weapon to mitigate some of that. Alright, we're on to the next boss, the Magma Worm Makar, I think he's called. Be careful to avoid his lava pools. Standing in those is the fastest way to get damaged, so get some distance if he lays them down. As you can see, the lava takes care of our wolves pretty quickly. Just fight him on your own, no problem. Attack his legs. Watch for his big swings, and if he lays down lava, get some space to get away from it. And repeat, you can heal as needed, taking cover behind the giant pillar in the center of the room, or just getting some distance. Okay, if you're up close, he does a belly smash, but no worries. We took care of him. Okay, just burning some souls here. It's always good to spend your souls as you go. Don't want to die with any. Luckily, haven't died yet. And now we reach the Altus Plateau. Make your way up this hill to get where we need to be. Be careful of this dragon that flies in the middle. Okay, on the other side of this pass, we hit the Erdtree Gazing Hill, grabbing the seed there. And we're going to grab some items and then make a detour, as the next area can be a little bit more challenging. Once you get to the road, there's going to be a fork, and look between the two roads, there's a site of grace with a glowing signal there. Grabbing a seed nearby, and then up the stairs to enter the capital city. You can run all the way up the stairs. There's some bosses at the top, and you do not even need to fight them. You just run straight past. Make sure you hit the site of grace as fast as you can, because they will follow you. And this guy gets dangerously close. But luckily, reset gets rid of him. Okay, boosting the flask. Here, I head back to the third church, which we've been here a few times. You're going to want to head south down the road again. This time look left for a building, and this is how we get down to the Siofra River well. It takes you underground, and so a note about the underground areas: this is where we can find some glowing white flowers to boost our summoner helper ashes, the spirit ashes, and they're called Ghost-Glovewort, which is the weaker kind, and then Ghost-Glovewort, which is the stronger one, and that's the only one we need. So the white flower there, the Ghost-Glovewort. Grabbing some items in the area. So with the Gloveworts, it's not like the smithing stone. You only need one per tier in order to upgrade your summoning helpers. For example, to get 3 levels, you just need one of the level 1, one of the level 2, so forth. And again, we're looking for the Ghost-Glovewort to enhance the one that we're aiming for. Okay, once you get to this area, grab the site of grace, and we're going to make our way across it. So the summon that we're targeting is widely considered the best one in general. It's called the Mimic Tier Ashes, and it copies your character exactly in your build, your weapon, all that stuff. And the awesome thing about it for our purposes is that you use HP to summon it, actually. So we have literally no mana points to use, and here I cross a little land bridge to grab a golden seed. You can see it on the left, continuing in the direction we're heading eastward. So yeah, we use HP to summon it, so it's great for us. Here we need 2 stone sword keys. And I might have been short on that, so I head back to the round table hole to buy some more. You can always purchase some off any of the vendors we've passed near the Weeping Peninsula or here at the Twin Husk. And that's also the person that we give the bells to and buy the stones, for your reference, the Twin Maiden Husk in the round table. Got a couple of upgrades here from the bell. We've gotten the mine, and now we can access this elevator that requires 2 stone sword keys. So we're heading to an area that you can see encaled peeking down the cliffs at certain areas, but I do not know of a way to descend without going through this route, so we go through the elevator way, which is the only way I know. Watch out for these exploding ball guys. If you're not paying attention, they can actually block your running path. And beyond them have these giant archers that shoot magic arrows. They hurt a lot, so you want to make sure you see the blue explosion before you run to your next area for cover. And after you book it from here, the tree will block your shot. So you saw the flash behind us. We're going to get to this giant jar guy, which is another quest that we're going to do. They'll put down some summon signs. I like to tackle the far left one from where we were facing. It's an armored enemy, and defeating these invaders will give you a quest reward. So I accidentally fall down there. We're actually trying to use a trick I saw on YouTube. Sorry, shout out to whoever had the video initially but forgot their name. We're going to cheese them by making them fall off the cliffs. They're pretty tough, so playing the real way. You'll see here I get nailed by an arrow because I tried to take a shortcut and not go behind the tree there to avoid the arrow. But anyway, these guys are pretty tough, especially the armor one, so I try to tackle him first. The trick here is to head to the edge of the ledge, make sure they're on the upper level. You do need to bait them on the top of the rock here, so they have to do their jumping attack. I'm just poking at him to get him up here, and you can see the area you stand. You do want to shift to the right a little bit once you drop down to that lower level. So this guy, he does a lot of damage, he takes a lot of damage, pretty difficult to kill. And so once you get in the spot, you do want to duck down. Going for the next one. Just as a side note, you do not want to block using your sword in case you're afraid of taking some damage. That will actually push you off the cliff, which happened to me once. Next one is like an assassin type character. He has a parrying shield and a dexterity weapon. Just be careful if you want to fight him head on, he can parry your attacks. Okay, we got him up here, but unfortunately he wasn't placed correctly, so I failed yet again and kind of panicked, not expecting him to come down there, and we both plunged to our doom. Alright, hopefully we get it done this time. I'm going to fast forward through since you guys know the drill. Dodging the arrows. Getting the armor guy first. Okay, can I get him to jump on the rock again? Okay, one down. Okay, next Knight of the Great Jar. Okay, just kind of mentally preparing myself to get in the right spot. This guy takes more damage, so you can actually chip him down. Oh, dang it. You can actually chip him down from the top of that stone if you wanted to. He was taking a lot more damage than the other guy. Okay, doing this a little bit faster since you guys know what goes on here. Try to think of it as a teaching point, just things not to do. But we get that guy once again. I think we got it this time. Okay, this time we get in the right spot and he falls to his doom by himself. And lastly, we get to see the mage character, which I save for last. He jumps right up there. Actually push him back to get in the right spot. And then once you get in the right position, he takes care of himself. Here we get the Great Jar's Arsenal, which will vastly reduce our weight burden, allowing us to wear the heaviest of armors. And this is even useful if you're not using a super heavy armor build. Going back to the site of grace within the city, I head eastward towards this pit. And at the end, you'll see a cave here, which we are going to get the next smithing bell to drop off at the vendor so that you can get upgrades at any time at this tier. And the cool part about this cave in particular, we don't even need to get all the way to the boss, so this chest right here has it. Be careful of the ambush of the guy behind us. And here I'm just checking out the cave, thinking about it. Nope, don't need to do it, so we head back the other way. Okay. I can't teleport from the inside, so I make our way to the edge, and then here you can go back to the table. Drop off the bell, and you can purchase your stones. I think it takes about 12 to upgrade each level of the weapon at the same stone. So I talked to this lady, and she gives you a talisman pouch. And I believe you can get that as early as after the Raya Lucaria Academy. Okay, using some souls here to upgrade. I'm missing some stones, so I miscalculated. But anyway. Here is another detour. We're just kind of powering up in some different areas, grabbing some items before we progress through the city. So we make our way to Caelid and head southwards from the side of Grace that you saw me take. Just follow the road basically for the most part until you get to the fork. Here I saw the campfire for another vendor, so just checking out the wares. You can grab some items that will clear Scarlet Rot in case you need it. It's pretty rare to find that. There's also some poison darts on this guy which can be very useful. But I don't use any, so I didn't buy any. Okay, making our way back to the road. You can grab a piece of the map. There's another vendor over there if you want to check it out. Well, you'll actually take the fork in the road here where the vendor sits. We're going to head south. You'll see that tower in the background. That's where we're headed. And after you beat 2 major bosses, this festival for General Radahn will be open. You can visit this at any time, really, at your choosing. We choose to go there now, but the fort will be empty of its enemies, and you can fight the boss. General Radahn is one of the key requirements for accessing the Shadow of the Erdtree area, and so we're going to take him on. Okay, so in this area we cannot use our wolf summons. They're useless anyway. You do luckily have a whole bunch of summon signs on the ground, as you can see here, and you can summon several of them at a time to help you. You'll see he shoots some long-range arrows at you, and the stack of weapons in front of us will block a shot, so go ahead and take the opportunity to summon all 3 and mount up on Torrent as fast as you can. I actually don't get hit there, but you can dodge that mounting up. Once you get close enough, he'll stop spamming arrows at you, and you do want to aggro him towards your helpers to get it going. Okay, watch out for his attacks. He does large damage combinations, several swings, and once he gets that purple stuff, which is the gravity magic, he does more damage. At 50%, he'll do a flying attack with a huge amount of fire damage, which actually nails me right there. It can be easy to lose track of where he's coming from in the sky, and it hits like a truck, so just be careful. Alright, gonna do the same thing at the beginning. This time around, when he starts to take flight, I'm gonna actually try to mount up to avoid it. Alright, he accidentally catches me there on his tiny horsey somehow. You guys didn't notice he's riding a really, really tiny horse, or he's just actually gigantic and it's a normal horse. But this time I keep my HP up, I summon. So if your summons die, which they will throughout the fight, just run around and find the white icons on the ground. You can summon more. Sometimes the same ones will come out. And here he's flying around later than usual, and he hits me less directly, so I do survive, but I get dismounted, but here we can finish him off. Again, watch out for his super attacks where he charges up purple stuff. Luckily, only took 2 tries, so not bad at all. Pretty intense fight in general, even after playing this game several times. Okay, boosting your soul stats. I'm boosting my endurance in order to use higher armor in the near future. We head back to Limgrave near Kenneth Hate's fort. You're going to want to look down and make sure it's safe to drop down on the lower levels, making our descent towards Nokron, the Eternal City, which is part of a quest line by Ronnie, the Snow Witch that we met earlier in the game, but we're not actually doing her complete quest. And it does allow us access, if you progress some of the quest, to get some cool items, and that's what we're here for. Namely, the bells that will allow our vendor in the round table hole to sell the Ghost-Glovewort to enhance our mimic tier, which we were getting closer and closer to getting. Okay, remember to grab the white flowers nearby, and here in the middle of this pavilion you see another one of the bells. So as you can see, that's the first Ghost-Glovewort bell that we get. I'll make the way around the side here. In this gazebo there's a larval tier, another item for changing your stats if you want to. So here in this boss area, we will fight a Mimic Tier, which is going to copy exactly what your character is. It will hit hard like us, and so just be careful. I got Frostbite, as you can see, which takes higher damage. Just be careful when you have that. And use the wolves to your advantage to heal if you need to. Get in free shots while he's swinging. Or in our case, our character is a girl. She's swinging. Okay, once you get on this bridge, you can mount up on Torrent. Once you get to the land area on the left, there's a broken wall. And then make your way around the curve here as shown to the side of Grace. Further descending down the city grounds. Here, you're going to want to jump across a rooftop. There's going to be a guy shooting arrows at you, but it does barely any damage. You're going to want to concentrate on the jump itself. Don't fall to your death. And there's a second one that comes up, but they're not difficult by any means. Okay, cross along this broken wall here. And grab this whetstone, which you can enchant your weapon with some different stuff. Use another stone sword key. And here is where we access our Mimic Tier ashes. So more on the Mimic Tier, besides being extremely tanky and copying our moveset, it also helps you stack frost buildup, and so that will be another awesome feature to utilize with this particular summon. Here I'm throwing some daggers to trigger the ball. That thing scared the hell out of me the first time playing the game, and it knocks you down whenever it hits you, so you want to take care of it first before you get rid of the little guy. At least I prefer that. And then you can grab this side of Grace and head on out of here. We cannot complete the area yet, so I'm gonna do something first. I'm grabbing some Ghost-Glovewort just for upgrading our Mimic Tier, which is our final one that we will use the rest of the game and beyond, probably. Maybe some cool new ones in the Shadow of the Erdtree will come up. Okay, going downstairs in the basement, you'll see Nephili in a state of despair, which is part of the quest. We're going to progress that later, though. I head back to the lakeside cavern, talking to Latena. She is another quest that we're working on. This one is in relation to Albus, the guy that was disguised as a jar with half of a medallion, so she comes with us on our journey, asking us to find the other half of the medallion. But we'll do that a lot later. So you'll see here I come back to the Liurnia, the lake's location, heading to the west, and we're going to head towards the 4 belfries on top of this mountain. Once you head through the trees, you're going to go slightly to the right, curving around the mountain top, making our way up. Be careful, there are some giants that appear out of nowhere. There are some spirit trolls, I think they're called, that use magic, so just skip them. You want to head to the very top of the mountain here, or this hill, whatever it is. Next to the side of Grace, you'll get a box with a free key. And so these special keys will allow you access through these portals. We only need one in particular, so look for the Precipice of Anticipation. They're labeled by those markers on the ground, and it's one of the closer ones from the top. You might recognize this as the early part of the game where you start off. Except this time, we're taking this guy down. Just be careful, he does get quite a bit of damage still, as you can see, especially when he does his holy damage with multiple stabby attacks. Okay, I got as low as a quarter, just be careful, keep your HP up. You'll want to head back to the starting area across the bridge, but this time there was a locked door that is now open. And here we're going to get the Stormhawk item and another one, which I've never actually tried that summon, but it's another Spirit Ash you can use. Okay, at this point I try to check on Nephili to give her the Stormhawk, but it doesn't work, so I realize a lot later on you have to talk to her foster father, Gideon, who's in the office, but we'll do that later. Okay, I head back here. And westward this time from the Third Church of Marika back in Limgrave. Trying to check on Kenneth Hate's quest progression, which is part of Nephili's quest. And so you can actually get the reward at this point. We cleared out his fort earlier, but didn't come back to talk to him. And that's what we're doing now. So again, I come back here to check on things. But the thing I was missing was not talking to Gideon yet. Gideon the hater, I like to think of him, but you'll see why later. Okay, buying some smithing stones here. Actually, I was just checking on it at the time. We need to wait for the next tier, I think. Okay, back at the Liurnia at the lakes. This time we're headed in a different direction. Further up north and then westward again, you'll find a piece of the map and some King's Realm ruins. At the end here, you'll find a fake wall. Hit it to get rid of it. And then I hit the reset here just to get rid of them. You see that giant blacksmith right there by that side of Grace? He sells you some lower level somber smithing stones, so you can get free upgrades unlimitedly for any of your special weapons if you do want to go that route. Here we arrive at the walls for the Caria Manor, and again heading towards Rani, not completing the whole questline though, but just accessing and progressing a little bit to get more stuff. Okay, this next part, there are some traps and ghost guys that show up. You can run past them, go straight through this first intersection, and then at the next tower you're going to hang a left. Okay, here, there's a golden seed. I'm going to sneak there to avoid aggroing that wolf, but unfortunately the one in the back actually sees me, so I just run like hell. You're going to want to go up the stairs and jump across this gap here. So there is a gap that you need to jump to cross or you will fall down. Okay, this path goes to the same place as the main path, but you can see the giant down there. Just avoid some extra enemies. You do have to fight a few though. Moving on to the boss. So we summon our spirit ashes, then I heal afterwards. This one shoots some delayed magic daggers at you, so just be careful not to swing at the boss while those things are charging, and then you'll end up with a face full of magic. Otherwise, not a tough boss. Okay, the other side of the courtyard has another entrance to the Three Sisters, which are towers. We're going to head towards the middle one, which is guarded by a dragon. You do not need to fight this guy. Even if you do, it'll just disappear and reappear at a later place. But that's actually one of the tougher ones. If you do fight him here though, Glintstone Dragon Adula is not as strong as later, so you can force the dragon to leave if you want to, but again, no souls or nothing gained. Okay, here we find Rani again at the top of the tower. Talk to her until all options are done. And then she forces you to run through her little tower to talk to her subordinates. There's E.G. the giant again. And you'll see here Saluvis, a wizard guy. And as you can see, you cannot teleport anybody, anywhere rather. And you have to go all the way back up to the top of the tower since the fog wall is there. And once you finish all the dialogue, it'll let you fast travel again. Okay, here we head back to Knight's Sacred Ground in the Nokron Eternal City, and now we can complete where we need to go. So you can run past all these guys. There was a Celestial Dew there I just grabbed, which is a special item to forgive any attacks on NPCs. In this chest we get the quest item along with a greater Ghost-Glovewort, which will max out our summon later on. Okay, back to Rani's Rise to give her that dagger she wanted. If you want to finish this quest line, I think it's one of the better ones, probably my favorite ending personally, but not going to do that this run. Just going to give her the item and she'll give you another item, which we will not pursue that path. Okay, so once you're done with that, descending the tower, you're going to want to exit and follow the northern slash northeastern path to the first tower that you would have come across entering this area. There's a magic barrier that's now open. And I forgot what was in this chest, so I'll check it out. It's her costume setup, actually. The top is a portal taking us to the next area. Ainsil River Main. Okay, in this area, it's actually underground again. You can take the opportunity to grab some Ghost-Glovewort. But again, we're going to get all the bells eventually, so if you don't want to, that's fine. You can upgrade later. There's this guy which you also don't need to defeat, but I went ahead and do it because, well, he's ugly, number one, and number two, you can get a somber smithing stone if you want. Just some truly hideous designs from software. Part of the awesome art in this game. Hideous in a good way, very creative, just nightmarish monsters. Okay, so actually just running around the area, I headed to the wrong end of things. You can see from this waterfall, this is not where we want to be. It's a steep drop, and we're looking for somewhere with more of a slower decline, and you'll see some red stones that are crafting items called formic rocks near the entrance. So running back towards the area we were at, past this stone arch, you'll see the formic stone there. Okay, going down, there's some ants that ambush you, so just be careful. They hang on the ceiling, and actually one catches me from behind. Okay, as strong as we are, enemies starting to deal a lot of damage now, so be careful. Okay, I take out the ants here, thinking that it's this tunnel path I need to go down, but actually it is the other way. So the shield head ant, if you do aggro him, be sure to attack from behind. Front will block all the damage like a shield, so it literally is a giant shield head. Nope, not this way. Okay, heading down the only other path. And this will get us where we need to go, Nokstella, the other city, underground. Taking the opportunity to spend some points. And I explore the side room here, but this is actually not where we need to go. And interestingly enough, we have the ant head shield right there. You're going to want to make your way up the stairs and then actually curve left. So hang left when you can right there. I realized at a certain point that I passed it and it didn't look right. So heading back the same way I came, passing these guys, you can jump over them, dodge their spear attacks. This is the room where you need to be. So these guys have a shield in front, you want to run behind and just attack their weak spot. Okay, there's the bell bearing that we're looking for. And you can drop off the bell, grab the items that you can purchase now, and further upgrade our mimic. So you can look at the number held at the top middle of the menu to see which ones you don't have on hand, and just grab what's missing. I'm lacking the souls in this case, so I'm using a boss soul just to get some cash, I guess. It's not currency. Alright, we got it up all the way to level 7. And heading to Agil Lake South, which is back in Limgrave. We got this earlier. Just trying to backtrack and type some loose ends, taking opportunities to get stronger so that we can finish the capital city in the Altus Plateau, which is where really our level starts catching up to where our strength is and the difficulty of the enemies of the area. So that's why I took all these detours to help us get a little bit stronger, make the bosses easier. Running down this river here, it'll auto dismount you, and you can see from the fog wall we cannot escape because there's an invader coming. Okay, this guy does some bleed damage, so just be careful, but 3 hits and he was done, I believe. This is a beginning area, so it should be way easy. None of the enemies are of concern at all. Okay, in the boss room, this one's a little bit unique. Once you grab the clothes in the chest, Patches, a recurring character in many of the Dark Souls games, comes down. And once you get him to halfway, you want to stop attacking him. He will beg for his life. You can accidentally kill him, so just be careful. We're going to need him for his quest line, and he is a vendor of sorts, which you can take advantage of if you want to. Okay, at this point, I'm talking to Kenneth Haight one more time, just to progress things. And after you pledge your loyalty to him, head towards his fort that you helped clear out enemies. And unfortunately, that goofball's fort is overrun yet again. You'll find him at the top and just talk through his dialogue until he's done. Okay, so I'm trying to move Nephili's quest along, but at this point I finally realized what I was missing. I'm checking for the Stormhawk just to make sure I got it. This was on a separate recording day, so just making sure. I didn't remember if I did it or not. Here's where I realized you have to talk to Gideon. And you'll want to click on the option that says Nephili's Despair. That'll get things moving. And then after that, you can finally give her the Stormhawk. It is important to note you have to do all this before completing the boss at the capital city in the Altus Plateau. Once you defeat that boss at a certain point, it will be too late to do this, so do it anytime in advance. Okay, coming back to the Altus Plateau. Near the road fork, I'm just heading generally north. And I'm going to drop down this little area here, heading towards the church you can see in the background. There is a guy that tries to ambush you, so just be careful. This rises out of a pool of blood. Grabbing a sacred tear and continuing my movement north. You'll see the air geyser fall down to block your falling damage. And then there's going to be a few more where you can make your way to the top, which actually missed the one just right there. And then that one will get you to the top where you can cross the bridge. And now we're aiming for the Mount Gelmir region. Okay, hug the wall on the left. You're going to want to climb the coming ladder as soon as you can. So you'll see some torches marking it. If you are too slow, these abductor virgins will interrupt your progress and make life harder for you. So just get there as quick as you can. Kind of checking the sights around me, making the climb. Okay, head towards that tower. And to the right of it, you can see a land bridge to get you across. Grabbing some stuff along the way. And a guy jumps down here. Familiar face, but easy by now. Okay, once you climb up another set of ladders, you'll find one of those isolated merchant vendors up on top. And this guy in particular sells explosive arrows and some other great bolts that you can purchase if you do like using some ranged characters or just occasionally ranged weapons. Alright, once you get to this part, you're going to want to mount up, head leftwards around the bend and across another bridge. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can spend some souls and Upgrade my flask. Okay, back on Torrent. Top of the mountain is going to have a boss. Head to the edge so you can have some summon space. And then we're going to take on the Falling Star Beast. This guy does quite a bit of damage, and you especially want to be careful when he gets to his 50% HP, where he will have enhanced gravity-based attacks. You can stagger him, get in your critical hit if you can, and you want to try to do as much damage as you can while your Spirit Ash is still alive. So that's his most damaging attack when he charges up the purple stuff. If you can get away, otherwise keep your health as high as possible to avoid dying from that attack. Okay, my spirit just bit it, so we're gonna solo him from here, getting in another critical. Okay, you can try your best to dodge the most damaging attack, but if you get hit, no worries, try to heal up as fast as you can. Just one more tap if we can get a tap on him. Finding it difficult at the moment, but we finally can with a poke in the booty, as we should. Okay, find the land bridge on one of the sides of the volcano. I think it was on the west side. We make our way down to grab another one of the golden seeds, and then turn around to head towards Volcano Manor. So here there is a quest line that Patches will intersect with, and you want to rest at the site of grace, and then talk to Tanith, the lady that runs this joint. She'll give you a key that enters the large rooms, and you can pick up the envelope on the table to start the quest line. We don't need to finish it all the way though, so just enough to get to where we need to go. You'll see a red mark on the map there that shows you your target. Head east on the Storm Hill, site of grace, and under the giant bridge here, you're looking for the little red invasion signs. Okay, this first one is Old Knight Isven, and once you defeat him, he actually drops a pretty decent set of armor. I like the way it looks too, so you can use it if you like. It's one of the heavier sets, so you will have to have the weight burden for it. And I hadn't really talked about it before, but our goal this whole time was always to maintain a medium weight burden, so you can tell in your status screen how much you're carrying, and the medium weight limit allows you to have the faster roll still without the stamina penalty. Okay, you can grab the second letter and look on the map for the red marking. This one is in the Altus Plateau. I head to the Mount Gelmir first, site of grace, and make our way back down the way we came. So you can land on the air geysers, and actually I went to the wrong side, so heading back up this one. There's another one on the opposite side where you can descend. Our goal again is to head toward the red marking on the map between the mountain pass here. You'll find the invasion point on the ground. So again, no matter what build style you are, you do want to target a medium roll speed at least. Even if you use shield and light armor or what have you, you want to always have a fast roll. Okay, talk to Tenant to get the quest reward. Okay. He's just checking out his shop there. He doesn't quite have our quest yet. I think I didn't talk to him enough. So I grabbed a red envelope, but you actually do not need to go after this target. I go back and talk to Patches again to see if he has what I'm looking for. So he actually gives you his envelope. and basically cons you into doing his job, but there's a reward in it for us, so that's why we happily do it. Back to the Magma Worm Makar, and here we fight the Great Horned Tragoth. He has the heaviest armor with great physical defense and the ultimate poise level, but again, be careful. Poise prevents us from interrupting his attack, so be careful when he's swinging his hammer. He can go through your attack and still hit you. Alright, we don't have quite the endurance to wear the full set of armor yet, so you can wear what pieces you prefer. And if you talk to Patches, he'll be happy you did the job, but nothing really left from him that we need. Alright, you can mix and match the armor pieces you prefer. In this case, I'm just going to go with the helmet. Looks-wise, I'm not a big fan. I'm using it for functionality, and you can use some different armor sets later on, or even the scaled one that we already got. So up to you. At this point, we have access to the General Radahn armor, which is pretty good also. We're heading back to the capital city, ready to progress through this area now. There's a gargoyle guy that flies in the middle, so just go on the side. Okay, making our way kind of northeast-ish, looking for some stairs that go up a level on this higher elevation. Alright, be careful of these stone giants in the area. I run through on the left side just to avoid all their arrows. And here at the end here we get to a boss in the open world. This time we're ready though. We have our Mimic tier upgraded, our weapon upgraded. Got some heavy armor pieces. I've tried doing this guy earlier and he can be a little bit difficult, so that's why I go on those detours to power up, get ready for this fight. At 50%, he has a slow lightning attack that damages the area around him, and also a fast one, so be ready to roll. He'll shoot it directly at you. Luckily, we take care of him, and our Mimic tier is still alive, so that's great. Spending the souls. Checking to see if we can add any more armor. Right now I'm concentrating on boosting endurance to get more pieces of the Bullgoat set. So again, poise is great for avoiding interruption to your dodging and your attacks in general. It's great for our purposes because we want to do a huge amount of damage, and our armor is heavy. We're going to have a lot of defense against damage taken, so trying to dish a lot as fast as possible. Right here, I take the chance to take another detour to test out our strength against the dragon, just to see how far we've come. This dragon might be the third or fourth strongest, so he's not the toughest by any means, but still one of the tougher ones. Okay, you can get criticals on him, so when he falls down, aim for his eye. And be careful, his flame attack is the most damaging of all his moves, and his tail swing is something you want to be careful when you're hanging around his legs. So you can see there, the fire hurts like a ton of damage. Once he gets distance from you, he will wind up his fire blast, so you want to close in as fast as you can. Here I didn't quite make it in time and tried to dodge behind that stack of weird fungus stuff, but not successful. Alright, we're not going to waste any time here, that was just for fun. But anyway, I edited out some deaths just trying to take down this dragon, couldn't quite do it. After a few attempts, we're going to head to the Putrid Avatar, which is another one of our key items for our build. These avatars, guard the Erdtrees, and once you defeat them, they'll give you a crystal crack tier, which is an item to enhance your Wondrous Flask of Physick. Or Physick, I don't know how you pronounce it. This particular one is one of the stronger ones. It does splash the Scarlet Rot stuff everywhere, so be careful. It has quite a wide radius, and you can see my stats building up quite quickly with that red bar. Once he has these holy golden attacks, you do want to run to the left or right in a circular motion to avoid him. And then once it's good to go, you can attack again. Again, dodging the gold stuff. Be careful of the objects blocking your running path around the area. And his normal hits, which also hurt. Alright, dodging this thing one more time, we should be able to finish him soon. Scarlet Rot does a whole bunch more damage than poison, so in general you have to take it more seriously. But the crack tier that this guy gives us is going to help reduce all elemental damage, so that's just filling in another gap in our defenses. We've got physical covered, we're going to get elemental covered as well. Okay, once you defeat him, you're going to continue down the path and drop down to the lower level whenever you can. We're aiming to find the Dragon Barrow cave. And you can see a bear walking out front to show you it's the right place. Inside the cave, watch out for this crazy bear on steroids. They call it the, quote, lesser rune bear, I believe. But there's nothing lesser about this guy. You can sneak in the bushes to avoid aggroing him. I hang to the right here to hope that he passes by, but somehow he has ultimate night vision goggles or something, and I escape in the side cave because he does aggro. Right here is an item that you can use if you want. It's called the Bullgoat Talisman. It will increase poise if you are needing to boost it using a different armor set that doesn't hit the max. Alright, sneaking back this path, he will block the way through, and just be aware there's no way to sneak past him, so you do have to aggro him on the way out. Okay, I hang a curve back to the entrance and reset. Okay, from here, this is the beginning room again. You just take a curve to the right to get to where we need to go. Drop down some ledges, and there's a wolf down there and a pack of smaller ones. You want to take out the white one first, it's the stronger one. So poise has some different tiers that you want to hit. You can use different armor sets, mix and match, but I believe that the thresholds you want to hit are 70 for one of the upper ones, and then 100 I think is the max you can have. Okay, when you drop down here, you can summon your Spirit Ashes, and these guys don't see you quite yet. I tried to target the first boss. These guys are not bad at all. One is melee, and the other one, which our tier is attacking, is the ranged one, keeping him busy. This guy is barely harder than a normal enemy, which you'll face several of them later on, but with less HP. So once you take out the melee one, ranged one is a piece of cake. Here we get the Flamedrake Talisman, which will help avoid a lot of fire damage. So I'm going to try this dragon one more time. Checking what we can wear for the Bullgoat pieces again, now that we kicked up some endurance. Okay, so I don't really like how that looks, so I switch it for the scaled armor chest and then the helmet again. Fashion souls live on. Okay, dodging the fire blast here luckily, and dodging the tail swing. You can see that by his tail. Couldn't get to his critical here, missed opportunity. But again, try to get close to his legs and dodge his tail there. I actually got hit pretty hard there, but luckily probably our Flamedrake Talisman helped avoid death. And again, could not get to his face. He retreats to the end of the bridge. And we dodge the fire blast. Alright, right here something interesting happens. He'll jump across the wall after blasting me. But before I can even touch him, he's doing this floating thing. And he's just like, oh, I give up. And he just dies on his own. We had him anyway, though, I think. Okay, so to wear the full Bullgoat set, you'll need about 53 endurance, or 52, I think. Just a side note there. Alright, we are more than halfway through the video. If you guys have been enjoying it so far, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It'll really help us out. Thanks so much. Alright, now we're ready to progress through the capital, Langdale. You can pass these guys, but I clear them out. Be careful of this bigger one. The smaller guys will shoot you in the back with those holy bubble looking things. And this enemy is always particularly grotesque to me. It's like a statue that's organic at the same time. Okay, make your way in the building. As far as I know, none of the guys sitting down are going to aggro to you, even though you can target them. Okay, jump through these boxes for a side tunnel, and that will avoid some enemies in the room. You can't sneak up on this guy and get a critical hit, and just finish him off by wailing on him. Head to the right here, down the stairs, around the corner here. Classic ambush from Software. Makes me paranoid every time I pass a corner. Okay, here at the main street, you're going to get your Mimic tier out as soon as you can. Here is another tree avatar guy, but it's actually much weaker than the one that we just took out, so not as tough as the Putrid avatar. Alright, heading downwards. Here is where we separate ways with Melina. She's on her own mission. Go get it, girl. Okay, these sitting guys you do want to take out. They will follow you from behind. Sneaky game developers trying to get you off your guard. But whenever you can, ascend the Dragon Wing statue. And climb the arm. Here you can jump into a building. Took me a while to find this on my first playthrough. Another guy around the corner. Alright, grab the Site of Grace for sure. Alright, there's one of those Black Blade Kindreds. I'm going to try to take him out here just because we can. Again, just kind of a strength check. We do take another one out later on. And he's a little bit nimble for a big fella. Having trouble hitting him sometimes. Okay, be careful about descending down that area to drink. Actually, I aggroed a guy without even realizing it. And we do take out the big enemy, but celebration is interrupted by this guy that just blasts me in the face unexpectedly. So yeah, luckily the Blade Kindred, that gargoyle enemy, is already dead, and he stays dead. Grabbing my souls again, although I was sure to spend them before we got here to fight that guy. Heading down this back set of stairs. We're going to grab a quick item here. Not really key for our purposes, but good to have in the future as a key item. You can pull that lever if you want to open a gate as a shortcut access to the previous areas, but make your descent down to this ashen area and around the building on the roof. You can enter in the side of the building, and it looks pretty familiar. You guessed it, it's the original round table hold. So particularly grabbing here the Sanctified Whetblade, which can enchant your weapon with holy damage. Grabbing some other items here. So holy damage is great against undead enemies, and there are some pretty tough ones later on, but we don't fight any of them. They scale better with faith stat though, and we don't really have any, so not really something that I'm interested in using, and we don't really require it. Okay, make your way out the same way you came in, and up the tree this time. You can just run past all these enemies. If you do fight them, it may cause the risk of falling to your doom while trying to dodge. So inside the building, we fight Godfrey the First Elden Lord. It's a spirit version of him or something. Or maybe it's the original, I don't even know. But he kind of goes after our own philosophy of just going berserk on people with a two-handed weapon. No real tricks here, just dodges attacks, heal. Your Mimicketeer is pretty strong by now. He's gonna take a lot of the aggro and damage. Does quite a good bit of damage as well. So defeating him gets us another talisman pouch. You can equip another talisman if you want. I don't really have anything that I particularly need. We get more core items for our build later on, so you can just use whatever you want for now. Okay, be careful here. There's a guy that's fake dead or resting. He's actually quite hard to catch sometimes, but I prop him up against the wall and he can't go anywhere. All right. There's another boss shortly after. And here we find Morgott, the Omen King. He does some holy based attacks, so just be careful. And when he winds up for this sword one, it goes in the shape of an X or a cross pattern, so just be careful not to roll into the side arms. We can stagger him to where he does his next phase, doing all this poo water or brown stuff around us. Otherwise, not really that tough. Okay, we got another greater rune. It makes you go to the door here before you can leave the area. And surprise, we cannot get into where we need to go. Molina has another objective for us. Alright, spending some souls, inching our way closer to using the full Bullgoat armor. Okay, here we head back to the Balcony Avenue side of Grace. This time we're going to head down the opposite end of the street again, where we came from. It's in a northeast direction, looking at the compass. And through the giant doors. Okay, just keep running past all these guys. We're going to make our way to an elevator, and just keep in mind, they do tend to reach you even if you run at full speed, so just be careful. They're shooting arrows and stuff. Alright, turn around, using my sword to block. Alright. Making our way on top of the castle rampart. Guy on the right. Two in front. And then once you pass this doorway, you're going to want to take out this archer on the left. And you can't sneak up to him without getting the attention of the second guy. This makes things easier. Once you get rid of him, you can take out this horse guy. Okay, I don't really go for any of the scarabs in this game, but just taking one out here just because I can, and a lot of them have Ashes of War, which give your weapons abilities, which you can utilize with non-unique weapon swords, such as this one, or other weapons that don't use unique skills. Also, that one gives us a somber smithing stone in this case. All right. Here there's a trap, so just be careful sneaking up on that guard. It actually triggers a boss fight. Very reminiscent of a boss in Dark Souls 1. Very iconic fight in my opinion. We can take out this guy really quick before the second guy even gets here, so this fight is a joke compared to the other one referenced. This is another example of a boss fight that later on is just a normal enemy, which you actually can come across by this point already. All right. So in this case, since it's nearby and works with our build, I actually am going to ascend this tower. And these towers are located throughout the world. They do activate your greater rune that you get from the major bosses. One from Morgott increases our HP, so that's always good. You can utilize any of the other greater runes that you feel are beneficial to you and your purposes. But remember, it is a weaker version of the rune until you activate it. So here you can see it greatly raises maximum HP is what it says. Alright, so it does not let you mount up on torrent here, so you have to just run on foot back to where we need to go to the elevator. Alright guys, getting closer and closer. Next we arrive at the Forbidden Lands. It's a bit foggy. Make your way generally in the eastward direction. Be careful, there is a part with a gap. You have to jump twice across a little mini island of land. Continuing onwards until you can summon your spirit ashes. And make sure you get ready for the boss fight. Alright, we practiced for this guy. He's basically a stronger version, but we can take him out. Be careful of his sweeping attacks and his jumping around makes it hard to hit him sometimes. Alright, Mimicteer doing work at this point, taking a lot of damage. .48 endurance now. Remember, our goal is 52, I think. Alright, here we reach the mountaintops of the Giants, a very scenic place. Hit the site of grace and head up the little area here on the right of the Zamor ruins. There's a bird that always follows you, so you can take it out. And where we're trying to get to is a stairwell right next to us. Here we can grab another spirit bell, well, a bell for smithing stones. Smithing stone. Heading back to the table to buy some of these new tiers of stones to upgrade our weapon further. Alright. Okay, I was short a little bit, so again, I think it might be 12 per each round, but again, if you know the answer, leave it in the comments. Kind of just running through this video, so I think it was 12. Alright, back to the Zamor Ruin site. This time we're going to pass through hug the left side of the wall there to avoid all the enemies. And then be careful with the cliff drops here. They come up pretty quick sometimes if you're not watching. Here's a really cool bridge. Very unique, but not sure if it's practical. Be careful once you cross midway. I almost fell down right there, but there's an archer aiming at you. You can dodge behind these large boulders or stones and just continue straightwards, going north pretty much up this incline. All right, here Latenna is letting us know we're close to the objective for her quest. And you're going to want to head up this incline slope towards the site of grace and continue going counterclockwise up the hill here. All right, I like to run near the edge. Just be careful not to fall. Just checking to where I can drop down. And you see another one of those Tibia Mariner looking guys. Here we find another one of those walking temples. And just real quick info on those. You want to knock down the skulls on their legs to get them on the ground. Some of them have gimmicks to where the skulls are on top and you have to get on top by an air geyser or climb out a tree or something like that. But anyway, you can duplicate any of the major boss souls at these locations, and that lets you get their weapons even if you cashed out their soul for some extra change. Or you can get duplicates of the weapons, such as General Radahn. You can dual wield his greatswords. Pretty convenient feature. Not in the previous games where you would have to do New Game Plus. Alright, be careful in this castle. There's two of these lion guys. They always seem to have a buddy system, so they seem to come in pairs. Luckily, our partner is capable. We take on one while they take on the other. Always keep your HP up. These guys hit pretty hard. So at this point in the game, enemies will do a lot of damage, even if we're wearing heavy armor, so just be careful. You get some somber smithing stones too. Okay, we head inside the building here, climb up the ladder. This next area is pretty dangerous, so just watch out. There's going to be some ballistas shooting exploding bolts at you, and you want to take cover if you can. And this is the dangerous part where it can shoot it in two different directions. You take out that guy and then cross the bridge as soon as you can. Alright, making our way down. Watch out for the crazy bird outside. Some wolves, and then there's the bird. Alright, make your way through this area with the spirit guys. You can just run past them. And we're going to hit the site of grace. One of them follows, so I take him out. Our next boss is really cool to fight as a sorcery build, so I have that in another video. Hope you guys check it out. But just run through this area. Some spirits show up. You can skip them all. This boss fight has two helpers. You do want to take them out first. So after you get out your tier, I like to target the guy with the two swords, and then the other one. This boss can do frostbite status effect, and so be especially careful if it does happen. You'll take higher damage, and he does a lot of area effects. You can see I'm taking damage like crazy. Keep your HP high. Okay, so our Mimic tier did not survive this round. Taking him on solo from this point. Be careful, he does have a fast dashing attack. That time dodged it. Watch out for his area of effect and get in your swings whenever you can. We take him out. So no worries if you guys aren't able to do things on the first try. If you do want to, go power up or do side questing, something to increase your soul level, or at the beginning of the game, if you haven't started your run yet, go ahead and power level at that dragon longer. Here we head back to the elevator, but you use the secret medallion, so switch to the Secret Medallion and we'll be at the hidden path of the Haligtree. Prepare for a drop here on an invisible path. You're going to want to aim for the doorway. You can see straight in front of us there's a doorway with a vulgar militia in each window. That will help you align the path to run. You can use the glowstones that you can craft from materials around the world to light the ground as another strategy here. If you are coming here for the first time and want to mark where the ledge is able to be walked on, and the stones will fall where you cannot, but since I'm familiar, I just run towards the doorway, and then once you get to a certain area, go towards the other doorway. You see the other guy there in the doorway with the Ghost-Glovewort, but we do not need to grab it. So I'm going to jump down to that lower ledge there and continue where I'm trying to go. Okay, jump through this window and head left, skipping all the enemies. This is another opportunity where we can grab an item without having to fight the boss at all. So head up this little elevator and grab this Drake Talisman, which will help mitigate spell-based damage. Okay, so this actually takes it out of the other end of the tunnel to the consecrated snowfield. From here, you continue northward. We're blinded by the snow, but pretty easy in one direction, really. Just be careful, there are some cliffs, which I accidentally fell down there. And had never gone this route before, but it takes you to where you need to go. Once the vision clears, you can look to your right for a site of grace. Or actually, it might be in different positions depending on where you came out of the snow, but heading up the frozen river here, picking some souls, actually got ambushed by this invader, and be careful of our holy charge up attack. It does a lot of damage. Even with heavy armor, it also almost one-shots me right there. So once you defeat her, luckily we're rewarded with a somber ancient dragon smithing stone, the top tier for special weapons. I take the opportunity here to equip the Drake Talisman. A lot of magic damage is coming up, so here we find another one of those walking stone temples, but this one defends itself with magic damage. A lot more sorcery damage coming up, so just keep it ready and equipped. Alright, giving that guy a pedicure and then heading into this building. And this finishes up another one of our quests. So getting Latenna to her location. After this you can still use her summon, but she gives you another somber ancient dragon smithing stone, so grabbing some items for upgrades here if you do want to try out some of the other special weapons. Duplicating another boss soul here just for some souls in case we need it in the future. I don't really use any of the special weapons again. You can buy all their armor for free. So we make our way towards the town here, and this is one of the tougher locations in the game for me. Make sure you spend your souls because you may end up dying a lot. Alright, we make our way down on the ground. Our goal here is to light some candles to open a magic barrier. And so the first one is right here. This part is a little bit tricky. You want to jump over the rooftop and take out that archer. And the tricky part is there's a crossfire archer, so use critical attacks to your advantage. That gives you some invincibility frames where you cannot take damage. Unfortunately, he died there, but I'm going to give it another go. Okay, that one was actually already done, so I don't need to do it again. Alright. Attack near down. Okay, luckily I escaped. You're going to run on the corner of the rooftop. Make sure your HP's high. Jump the second corner to get to the next ladder. And here there's another 2 archers shooting at you. Be careful to always take cover. When you're in the open, you do want to run and roll as much as you can. Getting to the next one, try to heal up. almost messed up there. But here's the hardest candle that we try to get to up this ladder. So again, there's another archer on the building adjacent to us. Make sure on your way back down the other track that you roll or get past quickly. In this case, the rooftop blocks some of the shots there. Okay, from here, and around a bend to get our next candle. And lastly, once you get this one, I'm going to drop down the side of the building. Make sure you aim for the roof. And just book it to that next candle, that last one. There is an invisible guy down on the floor, so if you happen to fall off any of the buildings, he will chase you. Just be aware of him. All right, heading on to our next area, which is a really cool concept to me. It's a giant tree, but not the Erdtree. This is the Haligtree. If you go into the lore of the story, there's a lot to do with the upcoming expansion, I believe. Okay, make your way down to where these ants are on the main branch here, the larger section. Almost fell there, so be careful. And you want to run by all these red plants. They do spew some mist that cause scarlet rot. So at this point in the game, there's not so much poison anymore, a lot of scarlet rot effects, and it does high damage. We can clear it out by reaching the next site of grace, though. Okay, so this next part, you want to climb the ladder there to get another key item for our build. Just be careful, sometimes there's a giant guy that drops down to this lower level. And when you climb to the top, you can see him on the other side. He actually jumps across over here. But I knock him down. Okay, running leap across. We grab the Physick Talisman, which blocks all elemental damage, but to a lesser degree than any of those singular ones. You can stack them together though, so if you're fighting a boss that does a whole bunch of elemental damage, you can use the specific one along with the Physick. Okay, we're going to run past this guy here at the altar, grabbing this item, the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. This will allow us to max out our current weapon, so definitely want to grab that one. Hit the side of grace to reset any kind of pursuit if you want, but I'm just going to jump down the roof. Okay, I accidentally ate a whole bunch of magic in the face. And I missed my souls jumping down. I didn't notice it right next to me right here. But no big deal. I think I spent most of it anyway beforehand. So actually at this part in the video, I'm actually trying to recover my souls, what was left behind, but you can't get back up there at this point, so, or at least I didn't know how. So I'm just grabbing some items nearby, looking around. And we're back on track. All right, coming up here, you got to enter this building on the lower level. And be careful at this rope bridge. These mages will spam some heavy magic for you. And this melee one right here that will have a huge explosion. Hide behind the pillar before you drink when you're facing projectile enemies. Just helps give you some cover. And we have this boss, Loretta, Knight at the Haligtree. We fought a spirit version of her earlier. As you recall, she does a lot of the same stuff, just stronger. She actually gives you a great spell whenever you finish her off. That is part of my core sorcery build. Again, check it out if you guys are interested in a unique playstyle. Does a ton of damage late game too, once you get your intelligence up. Some bosses literally melt in seconds. Alright, she's all done. Making sure to spend our souls. Alright, we hit our cap of 52 for the goat armor set, so you can wear them and have a fast roll now if you want. I forgot to mention one of the popular armors in this game that have high poise and less weight than the Bullgoat set would be the Veteran set. And you get that from defeating the guy at Castle Sol, which is the castle at the mountaintops of the giants. We did defeat him, the guy with the ice and the lightning. That's a great armor set. Looks pretty cool too. Has great poise and a good weight ratio. Just grabbed another ancient dragon smithing stone there, so just another item for our stash in case you want to try other weapons. We do grab about 4 of them in this game. There's a whole bunch more that you can find in the world though if you want to look them up. So anyway, the veteran set, it's a boss item armor set, which like all the other boss sets, General Radahn, etc., you can buy them off the vendor of the lady at the round table hole that is sitting at the room with the 2 fingers. Okay, running past these guys. We're going to get you another great crafting item to have. So falling on this crossway, go across and jump on the next one. Go upwards in this room, and here you go. Another somber ancient smithing stone. And you're going to fall on this crossway here to the next area. Make your way on the stairs over here. And be careful, there's a whole bunch of guards. We just avoided a bunch of ballistas going this high route. And you're going to want to pass this tree and these knights, which all hurt. Grab the side of grace as quick as you can. So I did bite the dust here, but luckily we hit the side of grace, so no worries. Grabbing our souls. Extra smithing stone. Keep on trucking. Okay, here there's a whole bunch of scarlet rot liquid. It makes you move really slow. I rolled through it. I don't know if it actually makes you go any faster, but it makes me happier. Okay, we do have the scarlet rot effect, which is draining our HP. Keep an eye on that, as well as the platforming here. And run into this doorway as soon as you can. You're going to want to drop down this lower level and hit the side of grace so that we can remove this scarlet rot. Okay, make your way and look for the way down. Looking around here. Actually didn't see it the first time, but there it is. And cross on the branches. We're going to try to get on top of the roof of this building right here. Another core item approaching. Okay, drop in this hole. Careful to land on the rafter. And we're going to aim for this chest here with these enemies. Just swing them down. And here we have the Dragoncrest Greatshield, which will further improve our physical damage reduction. Okay, head underneath that ledge onto an elevator, and here we can grab a quick site of grace. You're going to want to head backwards, so we just got that as a checkpoint, but this area has the hardest boss in the game, by far in my opinion. And you can try your hand at Millennia, well, what was her name? Blade of Michaela, that's it. Outside the door here, we're going to hang a left. There's a whole bunch of enemies here. I did try running through. Unfortunately, met my demise. So this other attempt, I am trying to clear them out. Okay, be careful. They can do quite a bit of damage. Took a lot right there. Keep your HP up. Hide behind the trees if you need to. Utilize critical attacks to prevent guys hitting you from behind. Okay, careful with your target locking there. Sometimes the smaller guys will lock on. You want to head towards this lower area. where we find another Ghost-Glovewort bell, and I think that allows us to max out our summon as soon as we can get back to the round table. Grabbing some of the ones in the area, and as you can see, as soon as I could, I made it back here. Drop off the bell, and we're going to max out our summon. Checking for upgrades, but we're not there yet with our weapon. Okay, here I head to the freezing lake, back to the mountaintops of the giants. Okay, you're going to make your way southeast, and the snowstorm's going to come in. There's another dragon here, but we do not bother. We're aiming for another Church of Marika, so look through the haze when it clears up for one of those familiar towers. Alright, we can grab some more items here, the Sacred Tier, and I was just scoping out the area. I think there's a somber smithing bell nearby, but I found this one instead. Just looking around, didn't really need to. Boosting our flask with our seeds, and now I'm going to focus on vigor for more HP. Okay, from here we said we head rather westward, and be careful of the cliff edges. These enemies can knock you off, so I tried to hug the wall passing that area, pass through this barricade, and then cross this chain that makes an awesome makeshift bridge. Alright, we're nearing the Erdtree, which you can see in the background there. Making our way all the way through. We're heading for another Church of Marika. My direction was off a little bit, so it's back west a little bit. And here there is an invader, so just be careful. This guy utilizes a bleed weapon that has some range effect, special effect attack. And so you can see him tossing out some red waves sometimes. Anytime you're taking a lot of damage, make sure you keep your HP high and expect the bleed proc to take a chunk of HP out as well. Grab the Sacred Tier. Okay, you're going to want to equip the Flame Talisman for fire damage resistance here. Coming up is another one of the hardest bosses in the game, in my opinion. He's actually harder than some of the ones that we face later on even. Here's the fire giant. Okay, he throws some rocks at you, couldn't dodge it, and so you want to aim at his left foot. The right one has an armor anklet on there, so you cannot access it. You're gonna want to aim for the left foot, which is our right, looking at him. He does have a lot of fire damage, of course, being a fire giant. At times when he gets distance from you, you do want to mount up on Torrent to close the gap, but be careful of his area of effect flame damage. At half HP, he will change. And so watch out for his fire around him, but then getting all the damage you can, just hacking at his thighs. Alright, he does get staggered in this case, but I just go for regular attacks in this case since he's so close to dying anyway. And luckily, I actually drop him on the very first try. Sometimes it takes a few. Okay, once you get closer to the cauldron, you'll see the glow from the Set of Grace. You do want to grab that just in case you accidentally fall off the cliff. Jumping up this chain is a little bit wonky sometimes. And especially at this top part here, be careful. You can run up it, but sometimes it requires jumping. Once you make it to the edge, we meet our dear friend Melina again. And sadly, the Erdtree must go down, one way or another. Okay, we are magically transported to another place, which I think is the coolest looking place in the whole game. It's a city up in the sky, and there's a bunch of twisters everywhere, so you can see the tornadoes flying around. Dragons. Alright, be careful of the ambushes of the guys on the sides. And for Room Azula, this location here is going to have a lot of great weapons and items for us. Dragon drops down here, but I just go ahead and skip it. We are nearing the end of our quest. Not too much left, folks. I'm going to show you the end time to show you, hopefully, what I think is a helpful run to make it efficient. Okay, just got another smithing bell there for the somber, which again we don't collect in this case, but just grabbed it anyway. Hope you guys save a lot of time getting ready for Shadow of the Erdtree, and again, if you can, please subscribe, like, comment. Alright, once you head down these stairs, you're going to make your way to the right side to find another set of stairs going downwards. We have a summon helper here, and also our own. We fight the Godskin duo. I find the bigger one to be more dangerous, but I take out the smaller one in this case, and then finish off the larger one with the back attack. Once you finish those guys, they summon one at a time, and you can take them out with all your buddies. And as a reward for beating these guys, we get our final smithing bell, and we can head back to the round table hole to max out our weapon now. Make sure you drop off your bells so that you can purchase the new set. Alright, we took it all the way to the max. Just checking here. And with our souls that we have on hand, I'm buying the veteran set actually. One I talked about earlier. Kicking up some vigor. And we go back to Farum Azula. Okay. Drop down at this point from the side of grace where we left off. And you didn't have to fight those guys, but I did. Okay, watch your step here. You're going to jump down some floating rocks and make your way through that doorway on the side. Continue jumping down. And this next part has a very strong knight in the brown armor. They're called the Crucible Knights, I think. I just ran away from them. Make your way across that gap. Alright, no better talisman to use at this point, so I just stick with the fire. Okay, you can clear out these birds if you prefer, like I do. You can also just run past them and dodge the lightning on the way. Be careful to drop down the slope here. You're going to run past this dragon coming up. If you run to the gazebo on the left, grab another smithing stone and he will disappear. So from here, you're going to look to the right and drop down a series of ledges. So it is the northeast direction looking at the compass. And again, be careful, these are pretty high. You can take a lot of damage or die. make your way down safely. And this is a little side road getting to another valuable talisman. There's some knights here which you can take out fairly easily. Okay, so here I'm gonna grab a extra shield, which we don't use, but it's a cool item if you do use it. Up the elevator, and this actually takes us around again to an area that we've been to before almost. But first we have to get through this hallway. So you can run past this guy, one of the Crucible Knights. Again, they're pretty tough, but I use it as a strength check. It's kind of difficult in this narrow area too, so just be careful in general. Once he gets down to HP, he does these different attacks on you, the zooming attack and some fire breath, but I take him out luckily. Okay, up this ladder, and this is what we came here for. In the window you're going to find the Flamedrake Talisman, which will help reduce damage against lightning attacks. That's going to be particularly useful in this area where all the dragons and other enemies can have lightning attacks. You can use it in PvP too if you want to, and can switch quickly. Alright, be careful of the guy that comes up behind you. I take out the caster, the mage guy first. He has some lightning attacks that track you. Be careful crossing that fallen gazebo thing, and then in front of this enemy you're going to grab the item there, which is another smithing bell. Up the elevator. Okay, rest up here to restore your vial uses. Spend your souls if you can. I used a little bit just to get the next level since I was close to it. Alright, make your way on top of this great bridge and run all the way to the boss door. This is another cool part in my sorcery video, so check it out. Alright, here we fight the Beast Clergyman. He's really fast, so be careful to time your swings so you don't whiff. And taking a lot of damage, I need to get away to heal. This guy takes a lot of damage, but he does a lot, and he's very quick and hard to hit sometimes, so be especially careful on his phase 2 where he's even faster and he has some range attacks. You can hide behind the pillars. Be careful, some of his dashes do curve around there, but you can dodge his projectile attacks. So luckily in this case we're doing pretty well. Still got a lot of healing on hand. His attacks do add a damage over time effect and reduce your max HP, as you see on the gray portion of our HP bar. Be especially careful, again, keep your HP filled up all the way. And try to be very aggressive so that you can make the most of your mimic still being alive. Okay, luckily got him in the first try, but if you need to, try again. Okay, so we're back in Lanedale, the Ashen capital now. All this ash is all over the place because the Erdtree is burning at the moment. You can see the cinders through the air. Kind of sad yet beautiful, no? Anyway, here's a little branching path here. I'm going to show you climbing up the statue's arm again to get an extra item late game. There's a guard patrolling the area, but he's pretty far off, so we'll just run and grab it real quick. Make your way back up the stairs, and you can jump over this fence. Getting close to the end. Very close. Alright, and here we find Gideon, the hater, as I like to call him, because he does not want us to become the Elden Lord, saying that we are not capable and that a tarnished like us will never be one, but we're going to show him we can be anything we want to be, boys and girls. Whether you're man, woman, dog, we can be the Elden Lord. Okay, familiar path. Head back up the tree. We're heading towards the throne again. Okay, just doing a last check for some items rounding up. You can head back to the Bestial Sanctum, back in Dragon Barrow. And this guy has some quests which you can do if you're a faith build or have particular goals. But to get his end item, you can just actually fight him directly. He has a lot of rewards along the way though if you complete his objectives. He gets you to hunt down some undead folks with deep root, I think it's called. So we get another ancient dragon smithing stone there for your weapon needs. Actually, I forgot another key item. So heading back for some things here. After you defeat Hora Lu, one of the bosses, which I will do now. I just found out that you could not access it until after this very boss. You can complete Nephili Lu's questline to grab some awesome items for crafting as well. So yeah, this is actually the real Godfrey, first Elden Lord, and we fought his spectral version or something earlier, one of his avatars. Okay, taking some heavy damage, so needing to heal. Alright, from here, he can take out your Mimic tier pretty fast. Again, try to make the most of it and do as much damage as you can. He does stagger, get in your critical, and be careful of his area attacks. He'll stomp the ground, hurting all around him. Keep your HP up and finish him when you can. I tried to do a leaping attack there but missed and got hit by some of those area effects as you saw. But he's done for. Okay, boosting vigor once again, and then I finally head back to the Godric, the Grafted Side of Grace, so we can cash in on the end of Nephili's quest. Okay, you may need to rest there to reset. Make sure the guy stomping on the head is not there anymore. And inside you'll find everybody. We have a new Queen of Limgrave. And you'll see this guy on the side, which sells you a bonus stone for crafting. I don't know where he found it at, but it's fortunate for us. Okay, there's nothing else much here. There's Kenneth Haight if you want to talk to him. Still offering knighthood. And here we are at the end of the line. Just 2 more boss fights to go. But making another stop here. So actually, I had just remembered the last boss is where we're at, but that is not the goal for accessing Shadow of the Erdtree. So you do want to head and get this at some point. We're looking for a portal to fight Moog, the Lord of Blood, which is required to access the new content. Heading down the south and western portion of the map, we will hit an invader, and it does require we defeat them before we can get to where we need to go. Be careful, this one does some ranged bleeding status effect damage, and just has a good bit of HP, so if you can, just watch out and roll if needed. But once you get rid of him, you can enter this portal here that now activates. It'll put you in a dark tunnel, but no worries, there's no enemies here. You just run straight to get out of it. So you can barely see anything, but it's fine. There's actually another dark tunnel coming up, so if you do have trouble and want to see your way through, might want to grab a torch before heading out. But as another side note, just be careful. We cannot single-hand our weapon, so you might need an alternate weapon or just keep running. So take the side path here. Hopefully you guys caught. We went down the branching path. There's another invader you can take care of just so that we can keep going. And here we're going to get another talisman to have holy damage reduction, which will be highly useful against a lot of the endgame bosses as well as the last boss itself. So when you find this crow, the item is actually nearby on a gravestone. There's the Haligtree Talisman, and we just backtrack to the area that we were previously coming from. This time you hang a left at the intersection, continuing northward, and then once you get past a certain area, you'll hang west through the forest. You'll see a large building here, or some ruins, I guess. Mogwin Dynasty Mausoleum is where we need to be. Okay, be careful of some of the exploding enemies here. You can just run past them as you see here. And up ahead there's going to be a big blob thing. You don't have to fight it. Once it breaks some of the tombstones, you can bypass it. Okay, in here is the dark part. So once you get inside, you can summon your mimic tier. Sorry about that. It is super dark in here, but you can see your way somewhat. There's a vendor inside if you want to buy some items. There's some useful items off this guy. Be careful, these guys do pop out of the ground to ambush you, and there's a second one that my summon is fighting. You can grab some stone sword keys if you want. Heading down the opposite path for the intersection. You can see this glowing item here, which is telling you you're on the right path. Heading towards the wall here, you hug it and heads towards the right. You see another marker here, the Ghost-Glovewort, and out the tunnel here, which you can see a faint light. So it's not too bad. You can do that if you want, or again, grab a torch and just keep running because you cannot one-hand this weapon. So don't bother fighting. Okay, up this elevator here, we do face the Lord of Blood. So I believe he has some fire-based damage based on the appearance of it, so that's why I equipped the Flamedrake Talisman. Okay, he's got some blood magic and has a lot of fire to it. And at halfway, he's gonna sprout some wings and do some flying attacks. Be careful right there, actually. What he had just done was he adds these curse stacks to you. Be careful, once you get 3 or 4, he's gonna wind up his spell to where he causes them to do a whole bunch of bleed damage. So you do want to heal after each one. If it seems to be troublesome for you, you can look up how to get a cracked tier to upgrade your Wondrous Physick Flask, and that will help remove the curse. So again, I kind of went through that too fast, but once the curse gets going, you just heal between each bout of damage. So it happens about 3 times, and you want to top off each time. You'll get another chance to look at it though. So some blood loss there, again be careful. It's fire damage as well as blood loss effects. And we do get very low, but I got a little bit greedy here trying to finish him off. Unfortunately, I died at the same time as him actually. Okay, round 2. Now we know what to expect, so just go for the same strategy really. Try to get in your hits. We'll see him adding the curse on you right there, which is the circular symbol. I stagger him and hit him. And there, his curse is going. So 1, 2, 3, always heal in between. Get another critical, and this time we finish him off a lot faster actually. Still 4 flask uses left. Okay, the creepy egg with Michaela in it. Boosting our vigor yet again, and then now we head back to the Elden throne. From here I equipped the Haligtree Talisman. There's a lot of holy damage coming out. It does help reduce a lot. Okay, gonna spend some souls here just to top off and get our next level. I expect to die maybe a few times on this boss, so don't want to lose any souls, don't want to bother grabbing any either. Oops. Okay. Be careful when summoning, he does aggro you, so just be careful. And avoid his area attacks as best you can. You want to be really aggressive with this guy. The longer you take, the more damage we're going to take, and there is another boss after this, so again, be aggressive to save HP on your Mimic tier, also to save HP for yourself. Hopefully, if you can, you want to have at least 7 or 8 flask uses by the time you get to the last boss. And here we are at the Elden Beast at the end of the game until the new content is out. This guy will run around a lot. His weakness is physical damage, and so if you happen to use other elemental type character builds, it might be a little bit trickier. So when he goes up into the sky, you want to make sure to run as far as you can, watching for the circle on the ground, which is his Mega Blast. He has various attacks. A lot of them have long range. You want to be careful to dodge the ones that are able to be dodged. Like the sword sweeps there, they can come up pretty fast, but try to expect it. Okay, I dodged all the ones there. Stay close to his body, get in as much damage as you can. You can stagger to where you want to get him in the front with a critical attack. Okay, some of the other attacks you should be aware of. That sweep often gets me. I have a hard time rolling through it. And again, those wide attacks are dangerous. Okay, he does have a breath effect. You can get close to him to avoid. Okay, he's going up back in the sky, so we run from his circle on the ground. Roll through them if you can. That will help prevent getting stuck. Okay. Those are tough for me to dodge. But I dodge his other swings. When he shoots that stuff in the air, you want to be careful. I roll in a square type shape, but in this case it actually went for our Mimic. And this is one of the easier runs, luckily, that I've ever done. I did die 3 or 4 times, but edited it out for time purposes. And here I have 5 flask uses to spare, which is just some luck on the pattern that he went for. Our tier was almost alive, I think, even. So here, you can grab your soul still, and you do not have to end the game. You can run around and do things after you've defeated the Elden Beast. Okay, so I did miss a key item, which I'm going to make my way towards, but just checking out the shop one more time. And I get the sword weapon from the Elden Beast. That's a great weapon if you want to power level further. If you go to the Moog, Lord of Blood area, and that hillside with all those frog-looking guys, those are Albinaurics actually. You can utilize the Wave of Gold effect from that weapon to power farm, power level, and get levels very quickly at this level even. But you do have to change your stats, so just keep in mind. Here I'm going to change my stats just to optimize my character. And I'm opting for the veteran armor for some extra points and reducing my endurance stat. A tip for re-rolling your character: you want to make sure before you change your stats, you check your equipment that you're going to end up on with your armor and weapons, and taking a look at your weight burden. You do want to have at least 70% or less to have the medium roll. So just something to keep in mind to save you some larval tears. Okay, so I changed down my endurance, reduced that extra dexterity I had, upped my vigor to a point, and then added the extra to strength. You're going to want to do a heavy enchantment, which I actually passed on, and we're going to go get that right now. Didn't really need it before because it's more of a late game option for you. Once we remove our cold enchantment, the heavy enchantment or infusion is going to do a whole bunch more damage, and again, you can enchant it with further damaging effects like your fire grease, for example. So we go back to Stormveil Castle and visit an area close by. Okay, so once you get to the part with the grafted guy and the balcony, you can just jump down, and I take him out just because I don't want him bothering me. You're going to head to the end of the hallway, the opposite side of where we went before. You can grab an extra stone there, and there's a fog door here. And here we can grab the whetstone that allows us to do the heavy enchantment. Again, this is an early part of the game, but we didn't head here, and it's more of a late game advantage. Most of our damage was from upgrading the weapon itself, and so now at this point, now that it's max upgraded, we can utilize the strength bonus. I'm heading here to the Redmane Castle, and just be careful. If you go through the portal, it won't allow you access to the item we're going for, just to tie things up. You do have to cross the bridge, jump on this fort tower at the top here, and then cross over to the cliffside. As you can see, I accidentally fell down a cliff, so just be careful. Right here, there is an edge that you have to jump across. If you run, you will fall. So by no means not a perfect run, not a speed run, but hopefully, again, I'm hoping to save you guys time in getting ready. And besides just being a quick manner of leveling and going through the game, I find the strength build to be fun. All right, heading towards our last pickup here before we call it a day. Grabbing a cookbook there, but actually I thought the item we were looking for was here, but it was not. So actually I'm heading out, running away from those dual lions, across this barrier area. You can enter another area to get through, well, never mind. Just watch out for these flamethrowers once you're passing through this barricaded spot. And we're going to head around this building. Once you see this abductor virgin, you'll see a door right behind her. And we're grabbing the red hot whetstone, which will allow flame enchantments to your weapon, and you can use that if you like it. Alright, this wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Okay, so here you can see our run took about 8 hours or so, and hope it was a great journey for you guys as it was for me, and hopefully see everybody in Shadow of the Erdtree with more videos in the future. Thanks so much. Like, comment, subscribe.